Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Shitshow Music! Today, we will be discussing none other than 21 Pilots' Trent.
Sipping on straight glory.
Okay. Seriously, though, you guys.
What the hell is going on
here? Did 21 Pilots really just come out with an awesome album? Did they really just do it? You guys, 21 Pilots released Trench, a pretty polarizing album from what I've been seeing in the old forums. I've never done a deep dive on 21 Pilots, although I did find the track Blurry Face highly obnoxious. The most unwelcome earworm.
My name's Blurry Face and I kill you.
Yeah, that is awful. I don't know any of their lore or what any of their self-centered references are about. Either way, I'll get straight to the point and say I oddly enjoy this album. As mediocre as it may feel at points, Trench is a very 2018 alternative pop album, and for being a pop album, this thing's pretty killer. We start the album off with the single Jumpsuit, probably the strongest single they've released from Trench or in their career. The main aspect that carries the song is the gritty bass line that was apparently written during a sound check, which I find totally cool. Making one of the most impactful pop singles of the year by fucking around on your bass during sound check is pretty punk. Thanks to Fantano's review of Trench and his comparison of them to Linkin Park, I can't unhear the similarities, nor can I deny how much I'm enjoying the album. While they aren't a copy and paste replica of Linkin Park, it's more of a feeling that they provide. Listening to Trench really makes you feel the same way as listening to classic Linkin Park songs, or even Deftones, kind of. It's more of a feeling you get rather than the sound that they are. It's the same audience, just a new generation. Hate to use Fantano's exact words, but you really did hit the nail on the head, man. This aspect is especially prevalent in the very next track, Levitate, an ice-cold but superbly thick and meaty rap song that displays the duo's ability to be a multifaceted, genre-bending act. The production is crazy, with a weird, almost psychedelic synth pattern, trailed by a dark little horn pattern.
Down from the ledges, better tested wooden wedges under doorways. Keep your wooden wedges under door.
This song is loud, angry, but still slick, and somewhat subtle in its smooth approach. Rap artists of all skill levels
And stardom team
should heed this song for advice on how to write a beat well, and how to make a fantastic beat for that matter. At first, Tyler sounds awkward in his rapping, to be quite honest with you, and I can't tell where the rhyme is supposed to be really, but it's just a small hurdle to overcome this really enjoyable track. I want to hate Morph so bad.
I want to write it off as a generic mainstream trash track.
But I can't do that. I love this track. The keys over the straightforward bass line are the main aspect that make me want to write the song off. But once they lead you to the chorus,
I'm off to someone else.
you just can't help but completely love and appreciate the song. 21 Pilots really know how to write a sonically compelling, cohesive album. The album keeps constantly kicking your face in with track after track after track until we get to My Blood, a fun song to sing along to dance along to, with its gritty bass, very memorable chorus, and just, it's got the magic, man.
Stay with me.
It's so good. This track has a more straightforward approach than Jumpsuit, its counterpart sounding song. But the enjoyment is so much better for the more straightforward approach. This song is so good. It's one of the catchiest songs on the album, for sure, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Is a banger, and you can't deny it. The song sticks in your head whether you want it to or not. While it comes off as Imagine Dragons tier, I can't help but sing along to this song and enjoy the simple and straightforward production of the music. I almost feel guilty that I love this track, an album for that matter, because it's so generic, but it's so good. I can't help it. I keep telling myself that the whole way through this album. This is so generic, but it's so not generic at the same time. It's pretty new just in terms of tone. It's pretty advanced, just tonal wise. About halfway through the track, there's a part where you think another chorus is gonna come, but instead you get a minor easing up from the beat, while a rap verse from Tyler comes in. You just get sideswiped with a total unexpected rap verse. While I enjoy the track quite a bit, I have mixed feelings over the last minute of the song, as it just feels a bit cheesy and too generic in contrast with the rest of the song. And even the album, this little section feels weird with the whole album, kind of, but I forgive it. You don't skip this part of the song once you get to it. It's not terrible. The song Smithereens is nice, with some falsettoed vocals during the chorus, with the last measure of the chorus having an unsuspected key change. The bass, as usual throughout this album, is fantastic, and it carries this song along an elegant journey. The bass throughout this album is definitely a highlight, but one other highlight from this song is the cool lead shortly after the middle of the song. The part's cool. Sometimes simple songwriting is the best approach. There's no need to be too technical. Just write a fun and catchy alternative pop album and take your prize and go home. That's what 21 Pilots do here, and I can't force myself to dislike any of this. Neon Gravestones is the closest I get to hating a track on the album. It just feels so different from the rest of the album. It just feels like a filler juxtaposed where it is on the album, considering how different and kind of underwhelming of a track it is compared to the rest of the tracks. I dig the drums on the song though, and it's definitely not a trash song. It's a song, and you can hear what's trying to be achieved. But this can probably be skipped without affecting the album too much. I absolutely love the vibe the hype brings, even considering the really cheesy ukulele part. In fact, this section alone is what prevents this song from being one of my favorites. But I do love the key that 21 Pilots choose to play this song in. It makes it feel like some sort of 2000s pop rock, early 2000s pop rock, like All American Rejects or Third Eye Blind. And I think that's what this album has a significant amount of. It's nostalgia somehow. Even though it's a very modern and genre-bending album, it's gonna give you nostalgia when you hear this later on. As poppy and generic as it is, you're gonna remember this album for sure. The reggae-hating teenager in my soul wants to hate Nico and the Niners when that song comes on, but when I look at the song from a production standpoint, this is definitely a competitor for one of the best singles of the year, man. The downbeat bass is not necessarily in my taste, but it's not done sloppily or anything, so it's bearable. But I absolutely love how the reverse sample towards the end of the song just brings every idea being previewed throughout the song all together. Every major producer from every single genre needs to take notes from this song right here. Take notes from the whole album, in fact. This is how you make an alternative album in 2018. Cut My Lip is a slower track with still heavy and thick bass, and it's a tad underwhelming at first, but doesn't feel too out of place or come off as filler like Neon Gravestones kinda did. However, this track does feature a soulful duet section that says,
I don't mind at all. Lean on my pride. Lean on my pride. I'm alive.
followed by a climbing and descending squiggly keyboard section, which eventually pulls the soulful vocals back in, perfectly aligning all the best aspects of the song. Very solid track, even if you don't really feel it at first. Bandito is not really my cup of tea. I'm not a fan of the way the chorus sounds. The choice of melody here is just... it just ain't it, chief. The last minute and a half is pleasant, but it doesn't warrant the drag of the rest of the track to get to it. Now, something I should mention at this point is that the album appears to have lore. The album appears to be about something, like a concept or a story about a character. So obviously, true TOP fans will argue that every song on here is necessary, but I don't care. I'm just a fan of music, man. I'm just here to talk about the musical points. I'm sure you understand. I hated Pet Cheetah upon first listen, but it grew on me for sure after I checked it out a few more times. The part where Tyler sings,
I sit here till I find the problem.
is so catchy and memorable that I can totally understand if the Hot Topic kids who loved Black Parade, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, or even American Idiot would list this album as their album of the year, and rightfully so. It's got all the elements for a classic alternative album, which unfortunately includes a few boring parts, but the album is still pretty damn good. Pet Cheetah isn't one of those boring parts, but you do feel it a few times throughout the album. Pet Cheetah kind of scares you into thinking it's going to be an underwhelming track or a cheesy track. It's fine. It's a good track. The chorus in Legend is not memorable on the vocal aspect, but the instrumentals like the bass and drums and horn really bring this track together. And Fantano was right when he said the vocal rhythm and melody is very similar to that of Everclear's I Will Buy You a New Life. But it doesn't feel like a direct ripoff. This track is pretty nice. I like the way it feels. It's nice. The closing track, Leave the City, does its job. It brings the album to a conclusion, eases the listener out of the door, but welcomes them back whenever they'd like. Tasteful drum improvisation mixed with simple piano chords and a speedy but subtle synth sequence make Leave the City an effective closing track. I don't love this track, but as it doesn't offer anything to me personally, apart from being a closing track, I've got to just give it, a thumbs up. Good job. Thank you for showing me out the door. Don't get rid of the track, obviously. It's fine. So if you couldn't tell by now, I'm obviously very much liking this album. It was a little difficult to rate. I wanted to originally rate it somewhere between a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. As I listened to it a few more times, it definitely grew on me. So the rating I'm going to have to go with, using Album of the Year's 100-point rating system, is 81 out of 100. Trench by 21 Pilots is very good. What did you guys think about Trench? Have you listened to it yet? Don't write off Trench just because 21 Pilots has made some pretty cringy and annoying and obnoxious stuff before. Trench is fantastic. Give it a listen. Seriously. Thank you for watching my